All right, welcome to Chapter 1 of the Content Operating System. And Chapter 1 is all about the creator funnel and content psychology. And I know you're probably really excited to dive into the operating system, to create your own, to build out your templates. I highly recommend watching this short Chapter 1. This will show you the creator funnel, which is essentially how we move people from being followers to being customers. And we'll also talk about human emotions and how that plays into the psychology behind your content. My fear is that you move on to Chapter 2, you start building out your system, you start building out your templates, and all you're doing is systematizing and creating templates around mediocre content. Don't do that. Watch this short Chapter 1. Let's dive in. So we'll start with the creator funnel. And the creator funnel is really thinking about being a creator, a content creator, as a long game play. So understanding the long game of moving someone from follower to customer. And you really do it through 4 steps. If you've subscribed to my newsletter, you've seen this already. This will be the only thing you've read in my newsletter, but I think it's really important to cover. So there are 4 steps. Getting discovered, which means being found on social media platforms. Building trust, which is really about showing your deep expertise in one particular topic. Deepening relationships, which is all about that community-led growth that you're reading about right now and why that's so critical and important. And then monetization. And if you can move people through discovery, trust, relationships, monetization becomes so much easier. We're going to talk about the top 2 pieces of the funnel in this course. We're not going to talk about community. We're not going to talk about monetization. We're going to start by talking about getting discovered. And getting discovered is pretty basic. It means going out and creating valuable content where people are already consuming. This is part of modern marketing. This is part of being a modern creator. And you know the places where people are already consuming. There are places like Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, indie hackers. These are what I call creator marketplaces, where there are 2 sides. There's the creators and there's the consumers. And what I want this course to do is teach you how to make sure that you are on the creator side, getting discovered by the consumers, but doing that with really, really great content. Because if you can't get discovered, you can't do the rest of the funnel. The second part of the funnel that we'll talk about inside of this course is building trust. And building trust is so critical in the monetization efforts. Because if you can't build trust, then people don't actually have the likelihood that they will consume or buy products from you. And when I say trust, I don't mean, they'll let you watch their kids or their dogs or be in their house. I mean, they deeply trust that you are an expert in your field. You go from being a familiar face and familiar name to being, this is someone that I trust. And I found the easiest way to deepen trust on social media is to use longer form content to show your expertise. Short form, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, things like that, really get discovered. You want to deepen that trust. It's all about longer form content. Podcast is an example of deepening trust. My go-to for deepening trust, a newsletter, how-to guides, step-by-step guides, things like that. It is super critical to eventually monetizing. We're going to cover both getting discovered, and we're also going to cover building trust inside of the content operating system. In order to do both of those things really effectively, you need to understand how human emotions play into the reception of your content. And I truly believe that if you want your content to be well received, there's only 4 sort of human emotions that you can play on in social media to do that. One is you can teach, you can educate. This person teaches or educates me. The second one is you can be entertaining. The third one is you can challenge people or make them think. And the fourth one is you can understand or empathize with people. These are the 4 content styles or outcomes for emotion that work online. Teach or educate, entertain, make me think or challenge me, understand or empathize. Let's take a look at some examples. So we'll start with entertainment. I am not entertaining online. It's just not how I write, so I don't do it very often. But somebody who is J.K. Molina. I don't love everything he writes. I don't agree with everything he writes, but I can't argue that he isn't entertaining. You can see this picture of Mark Zuckerberg in flip-flops, shorts, and a t-shirt. You can read the caption. You can see why this resonated with 3,600 people, got retweeted over 340 times. JK is an entertainer. That helps get his name and face out in front of more people online. But teaching is where it's at for me. I like to teach and educate. That is something that I do often on both Twitter and LinkedIn. And another great teacher is Dickie Bush. So Dickie wrote a thread here, how to generate 100 ideas to write about in 30 minutes, even if you have nothing to say. What aspiring writer who's struggling to think of ideas wouldn't read this? And since Dickie knows his audience, aspiring writers who are probably struggling to think of lots of ideas, this tweet resonated. Over 5,000 likes and 1,000 retweets. Dickie is an educator. Dickie is a teacher. You can also show your audience that you empathize or understand them. That really deepens the emotional connection. So this is part of, even some pre-trust building. This helps build trust because it shows empathy. It shows connection. Amanda Getz is really good at this. If you don't know Amanda, she's the founder of House of Wise. That is a luxury CBD brand and community for women. It is very pro-women. It is very pro-sex. It is very anti-stress. It is very forward-thinking. And you can see that Amanda understands and empathizes with her audience. It's clear in this tweet, right? Things I want for Mother's Day: maternity leave, pelvic floor therapy, lactation consultants, changing tables. These are things that her audience all wants as well. She understands, she empathizes, and it pays off. 3,000 likes, over 700 retweets. Amanda is an expert at empathy with her audience. And the last one is this person makes me think. So you challenge their thoughts. You challenge the way they currently think. You challenge maybe the established norm, right? Challenging the establishment or the norm is a really good way to resonate with your audience. And here's an example of me doing that, right? Most creators will tell you it's all about creativity. It's all about cranking out new content. I took a little bit of a different approach here. And I said, if you're publishing content daily, remember, people won't see it, won't remember it. Certain people will never see it. Repurpose often. Nobody remembers your content like you remember your content. That's a little bit different than maybe some other folks say. And so since I'm challenging the notion that you shouldn't be repurposing, it resonated with my audience. I challenged them, but also at the same time gave them permission to repurpose. Almost 900 likes, over 90 retweets. A great example of challenging preconceived notions. So that is a short chapter 1, just about 8 minutes long. We covered the creator funnel. So we're going to talk about getting discovered on social media platforms. We're going to talk about building trust using a high quality newsletter. We're also going to dive into how to create both of those things rapidly and with high quality. We're not going to talk about community and monetization, but I did shine a light on the 4 different styles or outcomes that are tied to 4 emotions that really create that great content to get discovered and build trust. And that is to teach or educate, to entertain, to challenge the preconceived notion or thinking, and to empathize or understand your audience. And so now that we've covered all 4 of those, let's dive into chapter 2, the Content OS architecture. See you inside.